So I have here I believe it's a 94 case 1845C skid loader. I've owned this machine for about a year. It's got right around 1,600 hours on it. And ever since I bought it, it's had a starting issue where it doesn't want to turn over periodically. You toggle the key switch, it'll start sometimes. Other times you'll just get a click from the starter. If you toggle the switch enough, it'll fire up. I don't believe it's a starter itself, and it's definitely not an issue with the motor, because when it does turn over, it fires right up. We'll see if we can get it to do it, but today that's going to be what we're fixing. My bad, just under 1,400. So give this a shot. That's what we'll get. So as you can see, you gotta toggle that switch to get the fire. But once it does catch, it starts right up. I'm told this is a common issue from reading online. I bought a kit off eBay. Let's see if we can't get this fixed today. So this is the kit I got from eBay. It's supposed to fix the starting issue. Cost about 60 bucks, I think, which I probably got hosed on that. I'm sure if you wanted to source all this shit yourself, it's a lot cheaper, but I didn't really want to mess with anything, so I figured I'd just pay for it, hook it up, let you know if it works. You can assemble your own kit, or you can buy it from the same guy. I think there's only one of these being sold as a kit on eBay, but this is what you get. You need some wire, some new crimps for your electrical connections, a little bit of hardware, and a new solenoid, which I guess is supposed to fix the problem. Guess we'll find out. So I got the machine off the trailer here and parked. First thing I'm going to do is take off this panel. There's battery access. There's only a few bolts holding it on. I think a couple are actually missing. And I plan to do some other service on the machine, so I'm just going to go ahead and take this off, and that'll be step one. Okay, so I got that panel off. It wasn't too bad, it was just 4 bolts. I think originally 6 holding on, but first step was to disconnect the battery. So we got that all disconnected, and now we can start taking some of these wires off the starter. Once you get your battery disconnected, the next step is going to be to take a couple wires off the starter right here on this post, which is very visible. You're going to have your main positive cable coming off your battery. Disconnect that from the starter. You're also going to have an additional wire hanging off it, or at least I did. I'm not exactly sure what this is for, but I plan on reinstalling it. So that's all I got to worry about for that. The second one here is a little hard to see. Hopefully the camera can get it. But there's a little tab right there. You're going to have another wire with a small screw, or bolt I should say, holding on this wire. That's going to be from your key switch in the cab. You're going to have to disconnect that and relocate it to the new solenoid, which I plan on mounting here. Okay, so at this point, I got my new solenoid mounted. I put it on the back of the cab. It just seemed like the best place to mount it. Now, if I ever have to slide the cab forward, I'm going to have to unbolt it, but that just seems like a minor inconvenience. Obviously, there's not a lot of room to get at anything back here, drilling wise, so I ended up kind of mocking it up, marking it off, or measuring off that little indent there on the cab. And went back inside the cab, removed the seat, measured off that indent, and drilled it from the inside. Tighten it down. If you don't have another person with you, you can get your hand up under there just enough to hold a wrench. And now that it's bolted down in place, I can start measuring and making new wires. So I got my wires made up here. These two bigger ones both actually connect the new solenoid to the starter, and this one's going to just be a small ground. I guess it's different for everyone, but just given where I chose to put the solenoid, the two bigger wires are about 20 inches long, smaller one's about 7. So now I'm going to go hook them up. So I got all my new cables on here. Over here I ran a ground. It just seemed like the best location at the time. We have a wire coming off this side of the solenoid. This one runs down and underneath to that little tab where the key switch used to go, or the wire from the key switch, I should say. We have another one coming off the other side of the solenoid. This one actually runs right into where the main battery comes into the starter. And then the original wire for the key switch is now hooked to there. So that's all in there. I'm gonna put the battery cables back on and give this a try. So we got everything hooked back up. I'm gonna go ahead and try to give it a start here. Nothing's sparking or frying yet, so that's a half decent sign. To see if this was just one of those good moments where it starts, or if that was an actual fix. But in the meantime, I'll consider it fixed. So there you go.